Hi, my name's Ken Colby, and I'm the author of Green Screen Wizard. Previously, I made a video that described all the special effects that are part of the Green Screen Wizard Pro Studio with Editor version. Today, we're going to concentrate on the editor itself. Now, the editor, I feel, is a breakthrough product, and anybody that's at all serious about doing green screen processing should own a copy of the editor. So why do I think it's so special? Well, let's take a look at this bride. For example, her her veil is pretty transparent, and Green Screen Wizard by default did a pretty good job. But let's pop it into the editor. Now, one of the things that you have to understand is that green screen processing programs have to do two things. They have to remove the green, but they also have to figure out what to remove. And it's constantly trying to guess as to whether or not this is something that should be removed, made transparent, or simply maybe a little change in color. We call that spill. Now most programs have, just like Green Screen Wizards, have a lot of settings to control this. But what's cool about the editor is that you can tell the green screen algorithm what color to look for. And this gives it a huge advantage. It knows that, for example, it's looking for a white veil and whether or not it should make it transparent based on what it's seeing. So that extra bit of information goes a long ways into making the processing happen. So let's just take it for a test. Well, before we do that, let's talk about all the different brushes that we have. We have an erase brush that will erase images. We have an undo button, so we can always go back. So let's say that we erase something and we want to restore it. We can go to our restore button, and that brings things back. You can also restore the original image without any green screen processing. So you can see it's bringing all the green and everything back. Now if we don't like that, or we don't like what we did, we have an undo button. And that basically undoes everything up to here. We have a blend button, a hair button that works with hair, filter button, which I'm about to demonstrate, blend to blend your edges more, spill to remove areas that were transparent, black to restore black areas, white to restore white areas that might have been made a little green or pink. We have a blur, we have a smooth that will work great with skin. We can copy things, can brighten and darken them, and we can increase contrast, and we can paint things. So let's get started. It's pretty simple. When we do a filter, we click this little eyedropper icon, and you can see how it's looking for colors. So we're going to pick just this color white. Now Green Screen Wizard is looking for the white color. So let's see. Notice how much better it does on making the veil transparent, particularly over here. Now we can see the bridge through the veil again. Now you want to be careful because what we're telling it is where we're putting this tool is something we expect to be white. So if it's not white, it can cause errors. Like for example, her head's not white, but that's the best white it could do with what it saw. So you want to only use this in the peripheral areas where there is white. Okay. All right. Well, what other problem do we have here? Well, we have some green flowers that aren't green. So again, we can hit restore. We want to, in this case, restore the original image. We don't want the processed image. So that's already checked. And there we go. Bringing back all the green flowers. So we'll do some more of that later. But that gives a pretty good demonstration of what the editor is capable of. So let's keep going. Let's load one of the problems that we just solved is transparency. Another problem is what do we do with someone that has a green shirt on? Okay, well, obviously that the girl isn't naked, but her shirt becomes transparent because it's green. So we have three basic ways that we can do this. Let's just load a little an ocean background just so it's a little clearer. All right, so the first way to fix the problem is to go into Adjust, go to Combine, and I would go to the Detailed Settings. And this slider, to add green, move right, well, we'll do what it says. And voila, see how the green comes back? But notice her hair. Her hair's got a lot of green in it now. And that's a problem. Okay? So we've nicely restored the shirt, but we've messed up the hair. But the Airbrush editor to the rescue. And we can click on hair, take the eyedropper so we find out what color her hair is. And then we just tell the system to restore the hair. There you go. Everything lovely. So that's one way to go. So now one of the things that you got to understand is there's two systems going on here. One is an automatic system. And once the automatic system is finished, then you edit it. You can't edit it and then run the automatic system again. Because if you do, so say we even made a tiny adjustment in the exposure, that would throw all the edits off. Okay? So let's go back to Combine and we'll restore the defaults. And now her hair looks pretty good, but her shirt's still not good. Okay. So what's the second way to bring your shirt back? Well, what we can do is we can go back to our filter button, and except we don't know what color green it is, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the foreground and notice how we can't do anything to the foreground except we can select a color, and we're going to select the color of her shirt. Okay, so then we go back to Combine. We have our filter set right. Let's see what it does. And look at that. I'm saying that this area should have the green that's like that green shirt. So that's the second way to restore green. Okay? And there's a third way too. So we'll undo that. Okay? And what we can do is we can do the same thing. We can go to the background. I'm sorry, we can show the foreground. And we can select a color. Again, we'll select her shirt. Sorry, we want to select on the foreground. So you can see it's selecting her shirt, but a little bit of her arms too. So we're going to lower the tolerance. And somewhere in here, it's pretty good. So now we've just selected her shirt. And we can go back to Combine. But this, what we want to do is it won't write where the things are selected, so we want to invert the selection. Now it's only going to work where where it's not selected. So now we can go back to restore original image, and it's going to restore everything that's in the non-selected area. In this case, the green shirt. Now, if worse comes to worse, and we'll see this didn't do a perfect job, so we may have to touch up a bit. So we deselect by selecting none. And you can see there's a little mistake there, and just a little there. Oops, messed up a little bit. There you go. So those are the three ways to restore green. Obviously, the farther the green off is away from the base green, the better off you are. But even, as you'll see later, even with a totally green that's exactly like the base green, we can still restore it. We just have to be a little more careful. Okay, moving on. So let's load another example of somewhat failed image here. So we have a couple things going on. We have the ceiling in this image. We have this huge black area, and that's because I didn't set the shutter speed correctly for the flash. Now normally this would be a wasted image, but just for an example, I want to try to bring it back. So the first thing we do is we go to adjustments, and I would bring up the exposure. I would also enhance shadows. That would give us a little bit of a return here. Okay. And now I showed clip in the first series. So we can clip out that top, and we can clip right. Oops, sorry. Clip left. And that's pretty good, but if I clip any farther, I'm going to clip her hand off. So now we pop into the Magic Editor, and we have an erase. And we can erase two things. We can erase everything, which will erase her head. Or we have an erase that will only erase if it's in a green area. We want to make the transparency 100%. And voila. And we can maybe fix the hair up a little bit. It's probably a little too dark. All right, now notice this brought a hair back we didn't want. So again, we can go to erase. We don't have to bring that hair back. Now this side's a little dark. So let's try to lighten it up a bit. So we lighten up just a bit. And this is pretty powerful, so we'll go over it a few times to get things kind of the way we want. And we have to be a little careful because it's going to lighten the background as well. Now, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of roughness to her hands, so we're just going to try a little blend button on that, see if that helps. Yeah, there we go. And there you go. Oh, well, maybe we could do a little more erasing here too to make this candle just a bit more transparent. That looks a bit better. And so there you go. A shot that was completely flawed is now restored. So we've now showed you how to restore green, how to fix bad areas on a photo. But the third thing that causes a lot of problem in green screening is hair. So let's load a foreground hair. Let's see, I have a lady with dark flyaway hair. Here we go. Okay, so Green Screen Wizard did a pretty darn good job, and with some adjustments it can even do better. But the editor has special software to restore hair. So it says this is black hair. Now look at all the hair that's restoring. All these little details. Now in some cases it may restore too much, so you've got to be a little careful. Like here, it's kind of a smudge now. So, didn't mean that. Control Z. This one. Maybe light. Get rid of it just a little bit. There we go. So, it's almost perfect hair restore on a black background. But what about red? Red's also a problem. So, let's show our red head. And the same thing. We can go to the editor. Go to hair. Now here we have a bit of a choice. So we can select a lot of different colors here, but I find that kind of one sort of in the middle works the best. Now you can see I'm restoring all this hair that got lost. It's also taking the green out and making her hair red the way it should be. There you go. So again, it does almost a perfect restoration of the hair. All right, so let's see what else we can do. Now these other features aren't really green screening features. The last things I want to show you have to do with the fact that sometimes, particularly if you're a portrait photographer, you want to touch the photo itself up. Maybe there's a little shine on their head, or um, maybe a blemish that you'd like to remove. All that stuff can be done with the editor. So let's load a lady here. Okay, now this lady's actually a friend of mine. She was a burn victim, so her face, even when she puts makeup on, it's still pretty rough. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the smooth button, go through and smooth and blend all that rough area. Now you can see using the blend button sort of messed up, blended her eyes and some other things. And notice I wasn't very careful about it, because I know that I could come back here and restore the original image. Maybe we won't restore it all the way. That brings back her eyebrows, her eyes, and her lips, and sometimes I put it in the bottom of her nose. So now that's a much more appealing photo. Since we're here, we might as well take a look at the hair. Fix that up. Glorious. And now, down here, if we look at the foreground, you see this green. In fact, I can't even tell where the skirt starts and the screen, where the skirt ends and the screen starts. So if I can't tell it, Green Screen Wizard can't tell it either. But what we can do is, because we're not human beings with a great brain, we can kind of see that this is about where the skirt is. So again, we can just hit Restore Color. Could be neat to make it a little larger. We'll go for 100% this time. And we'll just restore the green in her skirt. And I did mess up. No problem. There we go. Voila. Hi, for this last demonstration, I want to show you how you can touch people up. In the old days, in black and white, they used to refer to this as airbrushing the photo, and that's where I came up with the term airbrush editor. So today we're going to see how we can do that in full color using the Green Screen Wizard airbrush editor. So we pop into the editor, and we're going to blow it up a bit. Now last time we did this, I didn't really mention that you can slide the image around using the right mouse button and dragging. So that's what we're going to do. We've got the eyes nice and centered. Now we could use the same blur technique we used before, but I want to show you a second technique so you can have some choices. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to paint. And so we select a color near where we're going to paint, and then we paint it. Now you can see that's way too much color. What we want to do is we want to almost like put a watercolor on there. So we're going to undo that, and we're going to set our transparency way down, maybe in here somewhere. And we're just going to start to brush in color. Try to get rid of this sort of dark areas here, and the light areas. Just kind of smooth that whole area out. Now we can grab another color, kind of this pink color, smooth it out so we have a nice transition. And this color here is actually a little darker, and then we can hit C on the keyboard and brush a little of that in. Okay, then we'll just do a big color thing to try to smooth all the color together here. There we go. That looks pretty good. Now let's do the same thing over on the other side. So we select our color, and we lower the radius. And we start to get rid of all this color. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And again, we'll do the same thing. We'll grab some of this cheek color and we'll just do very, oops, a little too much. Just a little bit to blend. Actually, I want even a lighter color for this. Let's undo those last couple things. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. So we can go to our brighten and darken area, and we can darken our eyebrows is always a good idea. So we're going to make things darker. We already have kind of a small setting. And make the eyebrows just a little darker. Now her eyes look great, so we don't really need to do anything with her eyelashes, although you can darken these too. Well, we might brighten her eyes up a little bit. Her teeth are gloriously white. Now, I'm not a makeup artist, but just as a demonstration, let's try to put a little bit of eyeshadow on her. Now, obviously, we don't have any blue in the picture, so we have to actually pick a blue color here. Go with this little powder blue. Okay. And then we want it to be real subtle. So we copy that way down, bring our radius way down, and even farther maybe. And just a hint of color. I'm going to undo that. Let's try just one continuous stroke here. There we go. One continuous stroke here. And let's grab some pink. There we go. So I don't know if that's good eyeshadow makeup or not, but you get the idea. So that's Green Screen Wizard's ability to do cosmetic makeup. You can brighten teeth, remove moles and blemishes. If you have unsmooth skin, you can smooth it out and basically do all kinds of wonderful things. So this is an end. This brings an end to the Airbrush Editor demonstration. I hope you feel it's as great a product as I do, and thank you very much for your time.